Hi guys, and welcome back to this week's episode of the In the Hub podcast, brought to you by Playbox Technology UK. Today, we're speaking to Eric DuFosse, Consulting Manager at On-Prem Solution Partners. Eric has a rich knowledge of all things broadcasting, media, and technology, having been involved with our industry for over 30 years now, in a range of hugely influential positions. Hope you enjoy. There we go. So welcome to the In the Hub podcast, Eric. How are you doing today? Are you okay?
Doing very well, thank you.
That's very good to hear. And thanks again for taking the time and coming on today. It's a pleasure to speak to you. Just before we do kind of start talking about your career and more kind of in depth in the broadcasting industry, Eric, how did you personally get started in the broadcasting industry? Where did it all begin for you?
In fact, I started as a broadcast engineer for a national public TV station in France. And I've been lucky to manage, multiple operations inside the TV station, and then later on doing outside broadcasting for numbers of years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it's, I just look back through obviously your career and so many different roles in various different companies, obviously, various different levels of broadcasting and media. You just didn't want to sit still, did you, Eric? You wanted to go everywhere.
I'm curious, and I've been always curious. So that make me moving forward always.
Yes, no, I think that's absolutely brilliant. So obviously with this kind of wide range of careers and positions that you've had in broadcasting, media and technology, Eric, has there kind of been a highlight role or a highlight project for you that you've carried out that you often think back to? I'm trying not to get you to pick a favourite here, but, if there is any that stick out to you, it'd be great to dig into that.
Yeah, it's a bit difficult because, again, I really enjoy doing TV, live TV. It's very exciting live. And I was also very interested and motivated to help the largest media technology providers to build, even create products with new technology. But probably one of the most interesting experience for me was when I was working for a broadcast technology provider, a large TV network in US, asked us to help them to optimize their playout operations across their own stations. And so I acted for the first time as a formal consultant, helping this group. And it was absolutely amazing for me to understand that despite the technology, people were not communicating together. The different groups were working in silos. And this few months of the project helped us to build, a recommendation that led the technology transformation for this group for the next 5 years. And that was absolutely amazing for me.
Yeah, so it wasn't necessarily the technology that was outdated, it was the way they worked together and things like that, the teamwork, essentially.
I did write some time when I was helping a company to develop education for broadcast technology to say, it's not about technology, it's about people. It's about how the people use the technology.
Yeah, no, I think that's absolutely brilliant stuff, Eric. Looking back through your career as well, you've also launched your kind of fair share of companies and projects and things like that. What do you find more fulfilling in your career? Is it this joining pre-existing companies and helping them grow in new ways? Or do you find it more fulfilling to start a company from the ground up?
I will say starting with a green field is not always easy because, again, there are a lot of things to take care about. But I've been very motivated to help existing company to transform. That's really, again, talking about people and also the technology. Is very interesting to see how we can influence, help, support, advise company to transform.
Yeah, 100%. I can see how that would be really fulfilling for you, especially in this industry. And then obviously, Eric, that brings you up to your current position as a consulting manager at On-Prem Solution Partners. So for anyone who's listening to this podcast who hasn't heard of On-Prem yet, What kind of services do you guys provide?
So in fact, we provide a large and very deep range of services. It's really end to end. We can help company to in their business strategy to transform their processes, to help also with the technology, help them to define a strategy, assess technology, to implement also services. So we not only, the consultant to tell you what to do and then move away. No, we help our customers up to the end with implementation services, sometimes some customization development. So we have also a group in Texas that develop customized solution if needed. And then we help also the company to manage their infrastructure, moving to the cloud, this kind of thing, which is not trivial yet.
Yes, yeah. So it really is that full process.
Yes,
which really helps.
And by the way, as you know, we are part of Quest Media now.
Yes,
so
yeah.
Quest is a world-leading system architect in the field of the media and technology. So that's very relevant also for us now to be part of Quest and to be part of this worldwide organization that combine, again, technology, consulting, and system integration capabilities.
Yeah, no, it's fantastic stuff, Eric. And I was just curious about this with your kind of vast experience in so many different kind of subsectors of our industry and so many different companies. How do you think this helps you as a consulting manager, having seen all of these different functions and different parts of companies?
I think I've been lucky again to work in different areas in different time. And I think what is important is to bring, again, the technology layer with, again, which is changing rapidly and so on, but also the human factor in operations with creative people, but also understanding the third layer, which is really the business and the finance. So when you help the companies to bring these three layers together and to harmonize the processes across the different layers, I think we can really help companies.
Yeah, to prosper. Yeah, no, that's brilliant stuff. I think it would help so much to have a unique perspective of every layer of an organization and not just be able to consult on one aspect. You've really got to think about how it affects everyone else, essentially, haven't you? Which is, I think you're really well placed to be doing that, Eric.
Thank you.
No problem. So out of all of the kind of changes that you've witnessed over the last 20 years, and that's in broadcasting, media, entertainment, technology, what do you think was the single biggest change over that time period?
So we can...
I realise it's quite a tough question, actually, Eric, isn't it?
So in fact, we can talk about technology, cloud, the internet, the OTT, the IT technology. But in fact, I was shocked when I started in TV to see that the processes didn't change. We moved from film to tape to hard disk drive, I will say. And the processes were exactly the same. We used, as a recorder engineer, tape it, okay? We were using computers for years. No, tape it. And so I think what we've seen more recently, helped by technology, but probably not driven by technology, but driven by business constraint, that the people finally start to change their processes at every level again. And again, it was because the industry has been consolidating because of the financial constraint, the competition across multiple areas like broadcast versus OTT and so on, really pushed the industry now to consider how to change or to evolve their processes with automation, but not only. Again, when I refer to the mission I did for this large TV network, it was obvious that people didn't talk to each other.
Yeah.
They have been working for years. I remember 15 years together, the two people were working, 10 feet apart. And they didn't know what the other was doing.
It's crazy, isn't it?
So I think bringing the tools to help people to communicate, to collaborate, and optimize, some manual processes is what I think drive the biggest transformation I've seen.
Yeah, no, I think it's so important. I'm glad you highlighted it, Eric, that obviously teamwork, people, communication, that will always be very important, no matter how far technology advances and that kind of stuff. So we'll move on to probably an even harder question now, Eric, and that's in one word, what do you envision for the future of the broadcasting industry?
It would be a bit presumptuous to say the future of the broadcast industry overall. But what I would like to say is personalized TV. Finally, when you look about the radio, the music industry with Spotify or this kind of thing, I can create my own playlist, and I don't see why we're still managing these two extreme way to communicate media, linear television and on-demand television. Yeah. I don't see why we cannot accommodate more personalization for me to create my own channels automatically or not. Again, the audio and radio has been doing that for quite a while. And we've seen in the past that in fact the radio has been pretty well in advance compared with television.
Yeah.
So we have multiple examples of that. And so I hope to see personalized TV to create my own channels, and also the integration of, I wouldn't say the social media, or the capability to interact with the content provider, again, to personalize my content. We have been talking about that for 20 years, but it didn't happen yet.
Yeah, no, that's the thing at the moment, isn't it? It's obviously advertising, targeting, and stuff like that, and that kind of almost goes hand in hand with consumers being able to personalize their viewing experiences. Which, I go on YouTube quite a lot. They're pretty good at it. They almost know what you want to watch next, and then they have it all in the recommended. I completely agree. It's TV and those kind of platforms that are lagging behind in that respect for me. I think that's a brilliant one-word answer, Eric. So thank you very much for that. So yeah, Eric, thank you again for joining me today. I really do appreciate it. Are there any exciting projects coming up in the pipeline for on-prem that you can talk to us about today?
We see numbers of projects related to not only the mainstream digital media supply chain, but also everything that goes around rights management, again, process optimizations, data analytics. We are working on numbers of projects, again, enabling the business layers on top of the operational and technical infrastructure.
Yeah, it's great to see projects starting back up again. I know during COVID, it was a bit hit and miss for companies. Some companies had loads of projects coming in, others had absolutely nothing. So it's fantastic to see some action again, to be honest. I'm really happy with that. And then how can people get in touch with you, Eric, or on-prem directly if they want to inquire about your services or anything that you talked about today?
Absolutely. onprem.com or questmedia.com. You will see all the information, and you can reach me directly.
Brilliant.
If needed.
Simple. We love it.
Thank you.
Yeah, so what we'll do, Eric, we'll put the link to your website, put perhaps your LinkedIn profile as well in the podcast description. So anyone on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, you guys can go there and reach Eric there. So thank you again, Eric, for a great chat. I really do appreciate it. And I'll speak to you soon.
Thank you.